to bring out a special subject, something that we don't usually talk about, teen gangs. Gangs have always been an issue since the early 1800s. Since then, no one could ever control the way these people acted. Though you don't really hear about them, there's still a lot more violence and more children are influenced into them. We will first go to our news reporter, Isa Brigado, who is our interviewer for this program.
Thank you, Deanna. And hello, I'm Isa Brigado, and a couple weeks ago I had the privilege to interview the Dean of Students of High Tech High Chula Vista, Ray Trinidad, who has experience with teen gangs.
Hi, I'm with Ray Trinidad, the Dean of High Tech High Chula Vista, who has had experience with teen gangs. So, Mr. Ray, I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
First, why do you know so much about gangs?
Well, when I first started going to college, I actually received a scholarship at the National City Police Department, working with at-risk kids. And many of these kids were already in gangs, especially around the Otay area, National City area. And I spent 3 years working with them and trying to understand why they would want to be involved in gangs and things that we could do to prevent them to being, again, too much involved with this type of a deviant behavior.
Also, what are things that can be done to prevent gang activities from school?
Well, I think a lot of reasons why kids join gangs is because they don't receive a lot of things that are positive at schools. For example, camaraderie, recognition, the ability to feel like they're doing something, they belong to something. And one of the things that happens in schools is that oftentimes these kids come in and they don't have that. They don't have that at home. They go to school, they're oftentimes isolated, they don't have too many friends, they're already labeled, and they have really no one to really care and take care of them. So what they do is they seek out people, and gangs do that. They try to get more people in their gangs so they become more powerful, and they offer those things to these kids. They offer them companionship, camaraderie, recognition. There's a ranking system so they can get to be more recognized and to have more responsibilities in the gang. And unfortunately, that means doing negative behaviors, hurting people, stealing, all these really, again, negative things. But oftentimes they do that because they don't get the positive of that at home or at school. So one of the things that I think should happen at school is that we, as adults and even as students that care about our classmates, try to find out which kids may be at risk of joining gangs and let them feel that they are very much a part of something, whether they join a club, whether they partake in more extracurricular activities before, after school, or even during school, being involved with the academic.
Hi, I'm Diane Escudo, and basically what Isa Bergardo and Mr. Ray Trinidad were talking about were his position on the police department and a few reasons why people join gangs. And now they're going to talk about his experiences with people.
And do you have any specific stories that were shared with
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing about gangs, which is unfortunate, is oftentimes these kids, they glorify gangs. We see it on movies, we see it on TV. Unfortunately, we hear it in a lot of the music that we listen to, and they glorify these very violent, very negative behaviors. And I oftentimes have these kids that believe these, we call them wannabes, that want to do this. They learn how to tag, they learn how to communicate. They perpetrate these crimes, and what happens, they think that they're going to get all these wonderful things until they go to prison, until they get incarcerated, until things happen to them, and not only happen to them, but to their families. I had one student who was a fantastic kid, but again, one of the things that he did was he wanted to show off with his friends, and so he took a switchblade that he got from Tijuana, from his uncle, and brought it to a school dance and nearly killed somebody, stabbed somebody. So again, we always say, when adults say no, it's because we have to say no to bring a knife to a dance. I know, working at the police department, you take a knife to the dance, you'll use it. And I've also had kids who have been shot up, their family's been shot up.
Are you constantly bored? Are you tired of your daily routine? Does nothing excite you? Well then go to Disneyland, the happiest place on earth. So Melissa, what are you going to do after school today? Disneyland. Are you having fun, Melissa? Yes. Then come to Disneyland, where your dreams do come true.
Hello, welcome back to DMI News. I'm Isa Brigado, and today we have another special guest, Roman, who is a former pirate blood. So Roman, thank you for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
And I'm just going to ask you a few questions. First of all, where are you from?
I'm from San Diego.
And while you were growing up around San Diego in high school, did you feel any pressure from gangs?
Yeah, gangs were around. There was pressure to be a part of them. Not only that, there's pressure from dealing with them. They're a little intimidating, so there's a good amount of pressure.
So what made you want to become a gang member, and how did you become one?
I didn't really decide. I didn't wake up in the morning one day and say I'm going to be a gang member. It was basically kind of the way it was where I was growing up at. I had to deal with a lot of different kind of peer pressures. Did a fairly diverse crowd of people.
So I understand being in a gang, you feel this brotherhood, right? So why do you think brotherhood is important for creation and the continuation of gangs?
I'd like to say, the continuation of gangs is not, necessary, but, it's going to be ongoing, I think, especially when you have, kids growing up in parts of town, coming from different kind of families. They have not a whole lot of positive things that they can see in the future. So it kind of gears them to just being isolated towards that kind of mentality. Kind of a tough question to ask because it's different for everybody. Everybody's different. Some might have an older brother that might be in the gang and let you in on it. Or you might just see a friend of yours that is getting picked on. You don't like it, so you're gonna help them out. So then that camaraderie, brotherhood kind of develops as you grow together. But at the same time, he sees and looks up to you, and you the same. So it kind of works out, but not necessarily is it to be violence, and just all kinds of deviant behavior, as Ray mentioned.
And how have you grown from your position then to where you are now?
I've matured in many ways, I think, but mainly from a teenager's point of view. I think what I had that a lot of teenage gang members don't have was sports. I played sports throughout high school and had a pretty good athletic background, which kind of was my main focus. A lot of my older friends looked kind of took a liking to me because of that. But luckily, it was a blessing to have sports a part of my life. I played baseball in college, which was something that in high school, in the gang, there's no way that you're ever going to see any kind of potential career in baseball, let alone Major League Baseball. So I think I was blessed to have the athletic ability to play, but at the same time, being involved in the gangs allowed me to see that there's a better life outside of the gang. And even though it gets to times where the relationship within the gang might not be so sweet, those are the moments that you just kind of realize maybe this is not what I was meant to do. Maybe there's something else that I was here to do, and luckily I managed to go to college. I've definitely grown from the teenage gang standpoint, where you're just kind of idolizing a certain individual. You enjoy the camaraderie, you need the camaraderie, but at the same time, it doesn't really benefit you in your future growth and potential. So a lot of that, I felt like the gang was being selfish by trying not to allow me to do what I really was felt like I really could do, which was play baseball in college. And luckily I had that, and I managed to help out with inner city kids in Oakland. So I think it all kind of works its way in a big cycle.
Well, thank you, Roman, again for being here.
You're welcome.
And right now we're going to go into commercial break, but stay tuned because we have a little bit more.
Hands-on learner?
Do you like learning in a new and different way?
Well, then High Tech High is a school for you.
Hello, and welcome back to DMI News. I'm Issa Borgado, and I'm here with
Melissa Miranda, a psychologist who knows a few things about teen gangs. So Melissa, what do you know about teen gangs and what experience do you have?
Well, having to work with, as being a psychologist for teen gangs for about 2 years, I got to experience and work with a lot of people, teenagers from the ages from 8 to 15 who really have been affected, by teen gangs. And I think teen gangs is it's a very serious topic that not a lot of us know about. And I think we should just have everybody be aware that it's a really serious topic and that people get forced to be in a gang, just not in school but at home.
Now I know there's a few. So when gang members are able to leave a gang without any damage whatsoever, does what they did during a game affect them or does it leave them?
Okay, I really think this also depends on the person as well. If it depends on their life story about when they were in teen gang, like what they got out of it. And I really think when I worked with this patient who was 36 years old, he used to be like a drug addict. He used to hurt people and steal, and that's the choice he made in life. And I really think when I worked with him, he really thought about it and how he was back then changed him and made him the person he is now. And I really think it does affect them in a big way.
Right now we're about to go to commercial break, but stay tuned because we're going to finish our interview that I did earlier with Mr. Ray. And after we're going to be talking about a few solutions with our anchor woman, Deanna, myself, and Ms. Miranda.
Thanks for having me.
New shoe of the era, the British footwear. They come in 3 colors, white, tan, and brown, for only $19.99. Only available online at BritishFootwear.com or call 1-800-2001. 1-800-2001. I guarantee you won't regret it. Full refund is available.
What would you tell teenagers who are in gangs now?
Well, I think one of the things, unfortunately, is that it has to be preventative. In other words, a lot of these kids that are acting like gang members are not yet gang members. Once they're jumped in, then you got issues, then you got problems. So the best thing to do is don't join a gang. And I can't stress that enough. Once you join a gang and you're jumped in, or they may be, for girls it's against something much worse, then trying to get out is near impossible without some sort of something violent happening. Getting jumped out, many kids that are jumped out oftentimes are killed or beat up so bad that they're crippled. Unfortunately, a lot of kids have to move away, but again, these families have been in these neighborhoods for many, many years, so to get up and leave, try to leave a gang is near impossible financially for a lot of these families. But, I mean, there are ways and there are success stories. There's always, in regards to different gangs, different ways. But the one thing that I'll say to young people that are considering joining a gang is don't.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello and welcome back to DMI News. I'm Diana Sputo, your anchor woman, and I'm here with Isa Bergardo, our news reporter, and Dr. Melissa Miranda. We're going to talk about a few solutions to prevent teen gangs.
And the first thing we're going to ask you today is what can you do to prevent teen gangs?
You can go online and find out. Here are some ideas. Join a club at school, or if that's not your style, join a sport.
And if you know someone that is in a gang, please talk to them and tell them the consequences.
Because remember, every choice you make makes a difference.
Being in a gang is not something you should be proud of. You're committing a life of crime, and you're not hurting just yourself, but others around you.
I'm Diana Sputo.
I'm Isa Bergato.
And I'm Melissa Miranda.
And this is Gangless.